All right, and welcome everybody to the YouTube exclusive live premiere. It's another Smash Lights segment, and we'll be talking about exactly whatever I want. Literally whatever I want. So if you are viewing on YouTube, and most likely you are, please take a moment to press like and subscribe. And today I'll be congratulating especially Americans, but yeah, for viewing the videos on YouTube. Cheers. You're one of the few, the proud, the people that are able to actually see the content. Also, check us out on other social media, as we are all over the internet. And make sure you leave us a comment, especially if you're viewing the live stream, as we will feature your comments on the screen momentarily. Now, I would note that the Smash News Network has received some upgrades. We have a little better green screen setup than we recently had, thanks to patrons for that. And please consider becoming a patron if you haven't yet done so. The true source of funding for the content is patreon.com/smAsho. So yeah, today, let's see, Bad Orange Man will be gone, although I still see people on social media calling for prosecutions, which is an interesting theory on what should occur next, because you want to make sure you hold somebody accountable for the terrible year that was 2020, right? So yeah, it's clear, as 2020 was a year of clarity, that somebody should be held accountable. And so, of course, who you would pick to be held accountable would be somebody who didn't overreach. And here at the Smash News Network, we don't overreach either. So yeah, leave us a comment if you've got any news stories or anything like that in particular you'd like us to talk about. And we will put your live chats on the screen. Meanwhile, I'll do a news crawl, and I'll invite you all to mask up and lock down, bruh. Make sure you lock down and mask up, because there's ample evidence that wearing a mask will make anybody safer. Oh wait, there's not? Or is there? What say you, the viewer? Again, leave us a comment and let us know. But in any case, one place that I would invite you to check out to find information, perhaps, I don't know, information that's not biased. And we'll talk about biased information at a later time in great depth, because there's been a real need for accountability because of biased information on the internet, if you know what I'm saying. Here at the Smash News Network, we prefer to provide objective information. So I would invite you to check out Swiss policy research at swprs.org. And you'll find a whole series of information about the effectiveness of masks, which now I would never come on here on the Smash News Network and refute important health agencies. But what I would do is show data on, I don't know, things like numbers of cases versus mask mandates and stuff like that. So allow me to vanish, as I wouldn't want the Smash News Network to get in the way of things like truth, and show you some charts. Here's Austria. By the way, this ends in October of 2020, is the end of this graph on the right side. There's Belgium. Make sure you mask up, bruh. Mask up and lock down. And make sure you transcribe this video, especially if you're Google, who's unable to write code. Oh my God, the AI is so smart. Were you aware that Google's AI has been outsmarting you? Hey, look what happened when Italy required masks. Spain saw some success until, whoops. What happened with the masks? While people argue online that it's compliance that's causing the uptick in cases. Check out California. What happened? Hawaii even required masks outdoor in places like Honolulu. Great idea, Hawaii. And there you can see the similarity of all of those charts. Don't argue the point that herd immunity has nothing to do with vaccination rates, as that is one of the most COVIDiotic arguments that I've heard. Now, I would announce that our next Smash Hole of the Week segment will be coming out in the next couple of days here. What is today? Wednesday. Next couple of days, we'll make a new Smash Hole of the Week segment, and it will be fascists. And of course, there is a connection between fascists and COVIDiots. However, we're starting out with a very broad brush, and we'll move into a less broad brush in the future. So that's kind of where things are starting out with very broad brushes. Large swaths of the population are indeed COVIDiots and indeed fascists. So since this has been a term overused and utterly misunderstood over the past, 5 years? Coincidentally, 5 years? Since the term has been so utterly misused, we'll have to define that. So it'll be a Smash Hole of the Week and a terms defined once again. If you haven't checked out our playlists, head to youtube.com/smashomash/playlists is the URL to find those. And yeah, so let me put your chats back up on the screen. I saw there's some chats coming through. Cheers, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. If you're wondering what I'm drinking, it's club soda, seltzer water, as I enjoy a nice, bubbly beverage. Yes. So yeah, again, leave us a comment, and I can allow that graphic to be on the screen. I don't think that'll cause me to get banned for, quote, medical misinformation, which we did have a video taken down, which is still available on BitChute at bitshoot.com/smashomash. So thanks for leaving comments, Leighton and Nay and Twilight. And yes, I have seen various reports. I have heard reports that there were as many as 70,000 troops for the, quote, virtual inauguration, end quote. If you notice anybody excited about a Joe Biden presidency, ask them to explain what they're excited about. And if they're able to explain in 3 sentences or less without using the word Donald Trump or Hitler or fascist, in other words, citing the fact that they've voted against somebody allegedly. Anyway, things are in a very bad place, as people in the U.S. now believe that the U.S. is a banana republic. Speaking of bananas, have you heard about Dr. Rachel Levine? That's quite a banana. Let's see what the Washington Post has to say about it. Now, I jokingly stated back in May, or was it June? I think it was in May, just around the time that I left society. I stated back then that Dr. Levine quote, was a dude that used to be named Richard. Now, I was kidding, but it turns out that I was actually correct, because nowadays you can't write parody without it turning out to be true. Now, I'm sure you've heard about this, where The Simpsons and Family Guy and all kinds of other insane parodies have actually forecasted the truth. Yeah, reality is not stranger than fiction. Reality is literally the same thing as fiction. I could have sworn there was a story about Dr. Levine. Let's see if we can find it here. I know I saw one, a very pleasant one. Here we go. Biden selects transgender Dr. Rachel Levine as assistant, putting the ass in assistant health secretary. So if you weren't aware of that one, that's a great story. Pennsylvania's second top COVIDiot. So of the two top COVIDiots in Pennsylvania, Tom Wolfe is number one, Rachel Levine number two. And there's Dr. Rachel Levine, formerly NCAA linebacker Richard Levine. Let's play a clip.
I feel that I must personally respond to the multiple incidents of LGBTQ harassment.
I feel like I must personally respond to the multiple instances of the government doing idiotic things and putting this person in charge of my healthcare decisions. This person was not qualified to tackle running backs in the NCAA and is currently not capable of tackling my healthcare decisions. Whether or not this person's capable of tackling your healthcare decisions is another story. I have no idea, but apparently President-elect Joe Biden seems to think that Dr. Levine is adept and wise, as does Tom Wolfe, governor of Pennsylvania, Pennsylvania's top COVIDiot. Let's play another clip. I don't know if you'll be able to hear it. I'm just going to press play anyway. And it ain't working.
Be denied housing and public accommodations in most places in Pennsylvania that do not have local non-discrimination ordinances.
She's talking about Dr. Levine.
The most vulnerable
is talking about
continue to suffer, including
is talking about transgender issues for some reason. But anyway, that's the new Assistant Secretary of Health, at least nominated, for the U.S. So when you want to take problems at a state level and make them national scale problems, it's no malarkey Joe to the rescue. Because, you got to make sure you got to do something. When something happens, you must do something, no matter how ineffective the something is. And indeed, if it's even harmful, got to make sure you do it anyway. And let's put this hottie on the screen here. And we'll put this hottie on the screen along with your chats. And yeah, there you go. So we've got comments about mouth breathing. Were you aware of the benefits of nose breathing, folks? Yeah, wearing a mask makes you feel as if your breathing is being, allow me to vanish. Breathing through a mask has a tendency to make people breathe through their mouth, which lowers your oxygen levels. Yes, wearing a mask does not lower your oxygen levels. However, breathing through your mouth does lower your oxygen levels, especially at the cellular level, due to nitric oxide production in the sinus cavities. Yes. So, without going further into that, let me get to your comments here. I'll let them scroll. Yes. Oh, yes. Mask up and lock down, bruh. It doesn't matter if it's effective or not, because you got to make sure you do something, no matter how dumb that thing is. Make sure you do something, because you'll have a deluded idea that you're somehow affecting things. Glad to be able to join in live from Ireland. Yes, cheers. Glad to hear you're able to actually see the video in a different country, as we never know what the censorship may be like. And for those of you not aware, the censorship on YouTube varies massively. So you could be located in a place like Poland or Hungary, and the censorship profile that you would see there would be completely different than the censorship profile that you would see in a place like Brazil, which would be different than in a place like Venezuela, which would be different than Cuba, and different than the US, and so on. Now, there are ways to turn off most of these switches and to use VPNs and so on, but most people that are using your basic Google are getting utterly biased results. And by the way, look for that as a new piece of merch coming out. I want to announce the new piece of merch. It's going to be, you'll be able to link to it from smAsho.com, of course. So if you head to smAsho.com, you'll see a bunch of social media links underneath that arrow there in the upper right. But if you come down here, you'll see 2 stores. And at the smAsho store, there's going to be a new piece of merch now. And it's going to have the correction for the definition of the word Google. So let me just show you this. If you head to m-w.com, that's Merriam-Webster's site, and that's the entity responsible for changing the definition of the word sexual preference in the year 2020. If you head to m-w.com and you type in Google, you will get to use the Google search engine to obtain information about something or someone on the World Wide Web. And that's all fine and good, except it needs to be changed. It shouldn't be capitalized because it's being used as a verb here. It's not a reference to the company, although the definition contains a reference to the company, Google. It needs to say to use the Google search engine to obtain biased information about someone or something on the World Wide Web. And so we'll be producing a shirt and probably a whole series of stuff which will help to, make America not suck again. So here's a nonpartisan piece of merch you can get now. But look for a new one coming soon. It'll be the Google, using the Google Internet search engine to obtain biased information about someone or something on the Internet, as it's all part of an ongoing plan for the year of 2020, the year of accountability. So let's see what else our viewers are chatting about. Who would you like to be held accountable? Yes, oh yeah, Janet Yellen. Janet Reno. Okay, so let's talk about another cabinet pick. Joe Biden's cabinet pick, Janet Yellen. Have you ever put a fox in charge of your hen house? Joe Biden has nominated, who has been in nomination hearings, by the way, Janet Yellen, former Fed chair. The former chairwoman of the Federal Reserve is likely to become the new Treasury Secretary. Now think about that. That is equivalent to putting the craziest person in charge of the asylum. That's equivalent to making Khalid Sheikh Mohammed as the U.S. terrorism czar. I mean, you couldn't get more nuts than putting Janet Yellen in charge of the Treasury. Now, I had the idea of putting Bernie Sanders there, but even Bernie Sanders is not a bankster. Bernie doesn't understand the Fed. Okay, so that's the first thing. You know, Bernie said, it's unfortunate that an institution designed to serve all Americans has been co-opted by the very bankers that it regulates. Which is an indication that Bernie doesn't even understand what the Fed is. And by the way, Bernie's solution for the Federal Reserve would be to install even more inept government officials as the chairs of the Federal Reserve banks, as opposed to bankers. So yeah, Bernie's a really smart senator. He's also been filling up his pool by taking water out of the deep end, spilling a bunch of it, and pouring it back in the shallow end, and wondering why his pool keeps getting emptier, believing taxes stimulate the economy, denying supply and demand, pushing for a $15 minimum wage, which has also already caused people to get laid off in California as a result of automated kiosks being installed in McDonald's, and many other things. Another quote from Bernie that's one of my favorites would be, "You don't necessarily need the choice of 27 different underarm spray deodorants or of 18 different pairs of sneakers while children are hungry in this country." Trying to appeal to some ridiculous, emotional, starving children argument with respect to the number of deodorant and sneaker choices in the U.S. I assume Bernie's never been to a Foot Locker and that he shops at some crazy senators-only drugstore where they have 20 different underarm spray deodorants. Have you ever seen a selection of 27 different underarm spray deodorants? That's a real quote. When it comes to nonsense like this, resist we much, we must, and we will much about that. Be committed. I think we're going to make a shirt with that too. We'll have to put Al Sharpton's face, and it'll say, resist we much, we must, and we will much about that. Be committed. Say it. Say it aloud. Say it aloud. Resist we much, we must, and we will much about that. Be committed. Boom. Now that is some profound stuff. All right, so what else can we talk about? Yeah, let's talk about, once again, about how you should Mansa, because America's not going to make itself not suck on its own, and the government is certainly not going to make America not suck. It's up to you. Buy one of the shirts. Go tell your friends and foes that we'd all prefer America not to suck. And thanks again for leaving comments. By the way, if you don't follow Peter Schiff, make sure you follow Peter Schiff. His podcasts are fantastic, and we agree about 99.9% of economic issues. While we disagree on a few geopolitical issues and a couple other things, Peter Schiff and I are all too much on the same page. In fact, we regularly pause his podcasts here, and I say to smAsh staff, hey, you know, blah, 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 blah. And then I press on pause, and Peter Schiff practically says what I've said verbatim. It has to do with understanding economics. All right, so what else is going on today? Has everybody checked into your bunker? Are you 5 miles underground in a concrete reinforced EMP-proof Faraday cage, yada, yada, yada building? Are you wearing a lead suit? Are you wearing a tinfoil hat? Let us know in the comments. It's about time to close this thing out. Let's see, we're about half an hour in. So yeah, let us know what your plans are. What will you be doing at noon today? Will you be 5 miles deep in a concrete reinforced Faraday cage, lead-lined NBC ventilation system bunker? Will you be viewing the inauguration of Joe Biden live at the place because you're in the National Guard? Will you be hiding in the wilderness? Have you already completely disassembled yourself from society? In any case, I've been your host, Dan, a.k.a. smAsho. Thanks for tuning in. I am out, as it's time for me to vanish from the smAsh News Network. Again, visit our links. Share the content in your social media. We'll see you next time. This has been a YouTube Live exclusive. And we are out. Here's some closeout music. And we're going to upload this one soon, by the way. This one's going to be on SoundClick. For other music that you may like, check the links, especially the SoundClick ones.